What's up, everybody? This is your guy Tea Time, and this is my first ever video on Tea Time Gaming. If you like videos like this, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel since we are new. With this being our first video on this channel, I want to talk about my favorite video game of all time that will be coming out in about 5 months after a 11-year hiatus, EA College Football 2025. Now, as we know, this game took an 11-year hiatus due to the Ed O'Bannon law that came out that pretty much said players' likeliness needs to be paid for in the game, and therefore the game had to shut down over a decade ago. But now, with the emergence of NIL, which is name, image, and likeness, the game is now coming back after a decade. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about what are some of the features that are already in the game that we know are going to be in the game. And we're also going to go over a wish list of things that we hoped to see in this game. So let's talk about the stuff that we know is going to be in the game. Dynasty mode and also as well Road to Glory. We know these two are going to be in the game. They've been announced by EA back on November 22nd of 2022. So it's been over a year since they said this was going to be in the game. And we just got an announcement the other day ago from, I think his name is Brandon Marcello, where they said there was going to be Ultimate Team in the game as well. Dynasty mode and also as well Road to Glory has always been on the game. That's always been a thing. And that is actually going to be the flagship. Dynasty is going to be the flagship mode of this game. So the main important thing in this game is not going to be Ultimate Team. It's going to be Dynasty and Road to Glory. So that's good news for people that are out on micro, transactions and stuff like that. People like me, I don't even play Ultimate Team. This is good news for us that they are putting their main focus on Dynasty and Road to Glory. We also know that the transfer portal will be in this game to some certain extent. There's a reason why they actually pushed the game back a year, and that was because they wanted real players and more realism in the game, which is something we'll talk about when we get into the wish list session. Something else that we know will be in the game. We've had multiple reports from multiple schools that they are submitting actual sounds from game day to EA so EA can incorporate the exact sounds at the exact times where, like, for example, I'm a Clemson fan. They play Tigerama on third down. Every defensive down that is a third down, they play Tigerama. Things like that will be in the game, which is going to be so this is going to be a very detailed game. It's going to be a lot of details in it. And that's also something that we know is going to be in the game. Again, we've already talked about it, but I'll mention it again. If you're an Ultimate Team person, don't worry. You'll get your fix. The Ultimate Team mode will be in the game. Now, for the people that's like, oh my God, Ultimate Team's in here, the game's going to be a Madden reskin. And we'll talk about that in a minute as well. No. EA back in 2014 also as well had Ultimate Team in the game. So just because it does that Ultimate Team's in the game does not mean the game's going to be trash or whatever the case may be. But yeah. Now, let's jump into the fun part. The wish list. What are some items and some things we want in this game? So this is my wish list. Number one on my list is there should be some type of way we can do flip commitments. There has to be something in the game that shows that we can flip a commit. Flip commit is so prevalent in today's recruiting game. In Dynasty mode, and really even in Road to Glory, if you want to flip your commitment, you should be able to do so. That is going to be vital. It happens all the time in real life. They said they extended the game for a year for realism. Let's go ahead and make it even more realistic and add in that factor of the game. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, how can we tell if the person's going to flip or not, right? That's the main question. There needs to be some type of system that shows, okay, this recruit that we just got out of high school is a 4-star recruit and he's committed to us verbally, but he's like 70% committed, right? Or 100% committed. And now when a person is committed to a school, you should still be able to recruit them. Now, it's on them if they're going to switch or not. If they're really satisfied with where they're at and if it fits their motivations and what they want to do, which we're going to talk about that in a minute as well, you should be able to stay at that. They should be able to stay locked in at your school. But if there is a scenario where it's like, okay, this person's 85% committed to a school, and then let's just say another school comes along and they start recruiting them even heavier, well, it might drop to 75. Let's say your team is struggling. it might drop to 60. Now they're recruiting even harder, and now it's at 50%. At that point, the player should be able to decommit and be able to reopen their recruitment or flip to the other school. Again, I know that's probably a hard job for the EA people that work over there, but y'all can do it. I think it can happen. I think it needs to be in the game. Flip commit is something that needs to happen. In the old game, it was just, hey, once the player's committed, that's it. No, that's not how things works anymore. We need to have flip commit in this game. Secondly, in this game on my wish list, we have to be able to choose our OCs and DCs. That is correct. In the 2014 game, they kind of choose your OC and DC for you. And when I say OC and DC, for people that might not be familiar with football, that means offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. We should be able to choose who we want to be on our coaching staff. And let's go a step further. I know EA probably won't do this, but if there is position coaches on the game, I don't think EA will go that far, especially on this first game here. But if they do, we should be even able to choose our position coaches if that's the case. I don't think this will be in the game, but this is just something that I would love to see. Thirdly, we just talked about it. One of the few things that Madden has done well is the little motivations tab in franchise mode. When the person's motivations aligns, it's a lot easier for them to go to that team in free agency. Let's just be honest. The transfer portal and recruiting is free agency. It's the same thing as the NFL pretty much at this point. Same thing. So for example, let's just say I'm Clemson. Let's say I'm recruiting a guy in high school and he's from Atlanta, Georgia, and his three motivations are close to home, style of play, and he's a quarterback, and let's just say coach and prestige, which means coaches that have won national championships have more prestige, whatever the case may be, right? In that case, Clemson should have a pretty good chance at landing this guy. Also, as well, he wants to be close to home. Georgia should be in the mix as well. You see what I'm saying? It shouldn't be somebody like Southern Cal coming out of nowhere and taking this player because the motivations do not align up. Now, again, EA was actually pretty good about this in 2014 as well. But I think now more prevalent than ever when you have NIL, the motivation should be in the game. Just like you do in Madden, how they have motivations, like how they have the person wants to be close to home. They want to play in warm weather. They need to have that same type of system in recruiting for NCAA or EA college football. I just think that will make the game even more realistic. And I think it just helps with recruiting. And it's going to feel real rewarding when you get a recruit as well, knowing, hey, I fought off this school and that school to get to this guy. Another thing on the wish list, I'm not big on this, but I know people that are big on this. And just for the community, I will put this on there as well. There has to be some type of team builder aspect, which I think Matt Brown has kind of pretty much confirmed there is going to be a team builder in this game. But just in case, it hasn't been officially announced by EA, but that needs to be in the game. The community loves it, and they need to keep that in the game. Let's just jump into the real big drama fiasco that everybody's talking about. This should not be a Madden reskin. Let's just go ahead and put it out there. You have had almost 4 years now to work on this game, because if you go back and look at that NCAA Twitter account by EA, it was made back in December of 2020. So you will have, when the game is released, you would have had 3.5 years of building this game. We shouldn't have to wait 3.5 years for a Madden reskin. This game should feel different than Madden. It should look different than Madden. And honestly, I'm going to give EA some credit. I think it will feel and look different than Madden. You got to understand, Madden was already kind of declining even when NCAA was coming out. But you know what? EA never declined on college football. That game was always good. It was always smooth. It was always a better game to play and a funner game to play, to be quite frankly honest with you. This should not feel like Madden 2.0 with college football teams. If it is, I think the whole community will be disappointed. Another thing that needs to be in the game, I'll just say it, tampering. Tampering needs to be in the game. I'm going to be flat out honest because it's happening in real life. You want to make the game realistic? Maybe about week 8, week 9, you should be able to reach out to maybe 3 players on any college, roster and say, hey, I like what you're doing at Iowa. How do you feel about coming to Georgia at the end of the year? And have them decide, A, no, I'm good. I like where I'm at, whatever the case would be. Or, A, coach, I'll think about it. Let's go ahead and add that in the game as well, because it's already happening in real life. You might as well just go ahead. You say this game, you're setting it up for realism. Let's go ahead and add that in the game as well. I think tampering should be in the game. Now, this one's going to be a kind of fun one. For me, I think accessories like showing back pads, scrunchy socks, stuff like that. And you can see it in some of these mods that are really good about that. That should be in the game. College players show back pads all the time. There should be some type of element to where you can show that in the game. And they have it on Madden, like superstar mode on certain I can't remember if the mode is called superstar mode. It's like the backyard mode when you're playing against people on a 3-on-3 or some type of situation. So the EA has the capability of doing this. This needs to be in the game. We should be able to have our running back showing their back pad like, a lot of players do in real life in college football. That should also be in the game. Now, let's talk about the transfer portal. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but let's talk about it even more. If you are at a small school, let's just say you're at Charlotte, right? And you're going crazy, you're having a great season, you're doing tremendous. There should be some type of element of, I know I can go to a bigger and better school, right? There should be something there in that to where if a player's motivations line up more with a bigger school, they should say, hey, I want out of Charlotte, I want to go to Georgia, or whatever the case may be. Now, with the flip side of that, there also should be some type of stipulation where the coach is going to try to recruit his player back to the team as well. That needs to be added in the game as well. The transfer portal, it's going to make roster management extremely, extremely important, which I would love, because sometimes in NCAA 14, you would just stack up the best class and it didn't really matter about roster management. You would make it happen. But with the transfer portal, NIL, all that stuff, now roster management is going to probably be more important than ever. So you can't sign 6 quarterbacks and think everybody's going to stay now. That's not how it works now. And I'm excited to see how that's going to work going forward. So this is one I don't think will be in the game, but would be nice. I would like to start creating rivalries with other schools. So for example, Kennesaw State is going to be a new team that's in this game, right? They just came up from FCS to FBS. They're going to be coming up this year. I would love to make them rivals with Crosstown, Georgia State, which is in downtown Atlanta. Kennesaw is about 30 minutes out from downtown Atlanta. I would love to make them rivalries. As far as I'll even go to my neck of the woods, the Carolinas. ECU versus Charlotte is starting to become somewhat of a rivalry. I would love there to be an option in Dynasty where I can go in and say, okay, these are my new rivals. I want to make this team a rival. I doubt they'll do this, but I would love that. Now, Matt Brown also brought this up as well, and this kind of goes back to recruiting. It should feel rewarding getting a recruit. Let's leave the point bank thing alone. I don't like it. I know some people like the easy recruiting where you can just put points in a bank and try to recruit players like that, like how they did in 14. I think we should go back to how they did recruiting in NCAA 12 and 13, the way you had to make calls, where it just seemed a little more realistic. You could recruit against other schools by making a pitch of, hey, if you come here, you're going to get more playing time than going to Georgia or Ohio State. You come here, you're going to get to play more. Hey, our academics are better. Stuff that aligns with the players' motivations that benefit your program. You should be able to do it. I think the point-based thing, like where you just put 1,000 points on a player or whatever the case, 700 points, I just think that's boring. I think it's lazy. And also as well, there should be an option for if you want the points-based recruiting or actually in-depth, you got to earn it recruiting. There should be some type of system where you can turn that on or off, because some people do like the points-based. Me personally, I don't like it. But I think that should be in the game as well, to where it's going to actually feel rewarding that you got to recruit because you put in the work. 2 more things here. I also want to bring up, there should be some type of unofficial visit and official visit. There should be a way that you can get a player on your campus more than just once. Like I know they did that in NCAA. They gave every player 5 visits. I think that the player should now be able to have 10 visits. And if they want to go to a school twice, let them go to a school twice, whatever the case may be. And it could be unofficial. They can go on two officials, whatever the case may be. But I think that needs to be in the game because once again, we need to make the recruiting is going to be vital in this game and very important. And as y'all can see, I keep going over recruiting because that's kind of what makes the game go and that's what makes it fun. I think you have to have a way to where a person can get more than just 5 visits total. It needs to be more like 10. So that's my conclusion on what I want to see in this video game. I'm extremely excited. I'm very passionate about gaming. You'll see a lot of more videos from me doing like team rebuilds and stuff like that on Madden. Also as well, you'll see me doing rebuilds on 2K and stuff like that. You'll see some GTA content as well. We're going to have a lot of fun with this channel, man. So please give us a subscribe. Please like the video and we'll see you guys next time.